Welcome to GMI Connect. This podcast is under the helm of Apostle Dr. Glenn England, Apostle Karen England, founders of Joshua Ministries International, a place where God's presence is evident. Don't forget to subscribe for more uplifting, thought-provoking, and insightful messages. Be blessed.
Today's topic is Lesson We Learned from Our Parents, a powerful and relatable conversation that's sure to inspire, challenge, and encourage all of us. So, joining us today on today's episode, we have two amazing voices, Shianne and Valenticia, and I am your host, Chelsea. They will be sharing heartfelt reflections, life lessons, and wisdom passed down through their upbringing. So get ready for an honest, uplifting discussion on the values that shaped us and the lessons that continue to guide our lives. Now, whether you realize it or not, your parents taught you something. Some lessons were spoken, some were shown, some you only understood later. Today, we are talking about the lessons we've learned from our parents, the good, the challenging, and the ones we are still going through. Now, all of us would or could say that our parents have told us this or they have mentioned this. So, Cheyenne and Valenticia, what's one thing your parents used to say all the time?
For me, my parents used to, or my mother rather, used to always say, "You are a leader, not a follower."
And for me, my dad would always say, "Don't let anyone change you."
Good. I think that a lot of black mothers often would tell us, you know, don't follow nobody. And one of the things I could remember to my mom telling me, don't bring home nothing from nobody in school.
I'm saying,
Carry it back. Could be pencil, it could be a book. A man, you might have gotten it as a gift or something. And if you can assure your mother that is a teacher give you also, carry it back. And so, what's a phrase you swore that you would never say, but now you do?
I tell my niece now, the teacher already learned,
Mm-hmm.
so it's your turn to learn.
well, for me, sometimes, driving on the road, and I would see children on the road, and immediately I watch my clock. What are you doing out of school? Trying to figure out if it's a holiday,
Mm-hmm.
they're on some kind of vacation, or the school give them some sort of day off for whatever reason. That's always, I don't know why, but nowadays it's on the forefront of my mind.
Right. And where we were in school, and anybody would approach us about where we on the road, I sure we would have been highly annoyed. Like,
Of course.
what you asking me this for? But no, we mature now, and we know turn on and watching the kids like, why are you out of school? Especially at this kind of time.
Mm-hmm.
And they're flooding the places you want to go. You can't even get
Yeah.
ease to go in. They're all over the place. But what's one rule from your house growing up? What rule did you have in your household growing up?
One of the rules that we had was to always speak standard English.
Mm-hmm.
I could recall like being younger. Our mother would always try to instill in us to speak standard English. I'm guessing that she didn't want us to be speaking dialect and not understand what the correct English is.
Right.
She would tell us, she would give us prizes for speaking English.
Oh, wow.
She'd make, even if to this day, if we speak to our mother, especially texting, she wanted to speak standard English. Good morning, good afternoon.
Mhm.
You can't message me with a hey. I don't even think she would actually respond
Oh,
if I come with a
wow.
hey. She wants standard English, no dialect in the message, nothing like that. And to this day, I actually only type in standard English. If I'm talking to my friends, depending on the type of conversation, I may say something in dialect, but most of the times it's standard English.
Cheyenne?
For us, we couldn't visit our friend's house. We couldn't go to a sleepover. We couldn't go to the beach, not even with family or friends. It was just a rule. We didn't even bother ask. when vacation days come around, we didn't even bother ask because it was either My dad, especially, he had a family member that drowned as well, so that made it even worse.
Right.
So there was no holiday that I could remember getting up and going out the house with friends or family to the beach or anything like that.
So it always had to be going with your parents.
Going with my parents.
Not even a church
No.
member, no.
No.
When the church going beach for holiday, like,
No.
and your parents don't want to go, no?
No.
Wow.
Did your parents actually go to the beach?
No, my daddy didn't see water either. And my mom would just, whatever daddy says, I know.
Yeah. My mom hates the beach.
Yeah, and it's so funny that, you know, our parents would have this fear of the sea or the beach, and we live in a Caribbean country surrounded by so much water, yet a lot of us here still can't swim.
No.
I remember my mother, if she would allow me to go to the beach with maybe like my aunties also, but she would always tell me, Chelsea, don't let the water pass your ankle. So I said, Mama, well, I mean, don't say don't go in the water then, because, well, so she would, do not let it go. And she would tell me, like, if she's there at the beach, I want to see you. And if my mother can see me, bet you like beach over. Beach is over, time to pack up, go home, everything. My mother wasn't about that kind of life when it come on beach and them kind of thing. To sleep over was kind of ticklish too. And it ain't no matter if like the parent call, like my mother, where you want to go by the place for? You know, we have to go there for want me to your house. That's how my mother was too. But we just got to love our parents. Who was stricter? Your mom or your dad?
How do I say this? My mom was stricter, but she did it through my dad. So it means that she would notice something and go quickly to my dad and say, England, Shianne doing this and this and this. You need to go talk to her mind.
So she wasn't the one to come comfort you.
She would go to my dad. To my dad.
Well.
For me, it was always my mom. My dad was never a disciplinarian. He was more of a talker. And it wasn't even a talker that would make you feel scared or anything like that. He would just come and be like, Princess, you know, you probably shouldn't have do that. That probably wasn't the best approach. But my mom, best believe.
She wasn't playing that game.
Not at all. Still don't.
My mother, she is, not was, she is the stricter. And my dad, I think she would only go to my dad if she, I guess, just to inform him about your child was rude or Chelsea do something that was disrespectful, not as a form of me getting disciplined, although I had much fear for my dad than my mom. You know, my mother would, your mother grab anything, anything in their reach, they grab it and that's where you get licked with, you know. But my dad, he had a much softer side. So, same way as your dad, he would say, you know, maybe you shouldn't talk to your mother like this. I think only twice in my life my dad beat me. And that was because I didn't listen to him when he spoke. And I think he was just fed up and just decided, I think you might hear it this way versus me talking to you. But my mother, oh no, sir, I 31 years. And let my mother see me going somewhere. Just see, well, you're going on the word salute. And I'm like, woman. Now I understand when Jesus referred to Mary as woman and not mother. I'm like, ma, you know, like, you mean, if she called me like I miss a call, you ain't see me calling you and got this kind of authoritative thing about her. And I'm like, this woman is here, a big woman with me own car, got me own keys, you know? But yeah, that's my mother. So, now we're going to talk about lessons that have stayed with us that our parents would have instilled in us as we were growing up. So, what is one lesson from your parents that still guides you today?
Um, Having pastors as my parents
Mm-hmm.
really impacted me. So one lesson I would say would be trust God first and
Mm-hmm.
trust Him the most.
Mm.
Right, that would be something I could say is stay with me.
You said something that how do you feel or how did you feel growing up being a pastor's kid? And I know everybody know that you're a pastor kid because your parents them known.
I think that um, I think that we grew accustomed to it, but it was all eyes on us. So
Definitely.
every detail, I could remember my brother one time saying that he don't always wake up and have devotion and pray.
Mm-hmm.
And it became a big thing in the church. Pastor England, your son just said,
You sure the
you
church must
know?
be like, wow, what kind of pastor this
Right.
here?
So it's after we got older they realized like they have to separate a little bit. And we are our own individuals and but yeah.
Did you ever feel pressured? Like, you have to be perfect.
Not pressure, but there was a certain awareness.
Mm. Awareness to the fact that you just have to do right, stay right, no mistake. Mm. Okay. Princess of
Um,
Valenticia?
One lesson I would say was to, or is to, have faith.
Mm-hmm.
I remember being in high school and thinking that I would fail my subjects or wouldn't do well. And I remember before almost every exams or set of exams I would have, oh, my would always have to recite Philippians 4:13,
Mm-hmm.
and that is something that has stuck with me because sometimes you're at work, being older, being at work, and you have something to do and you're not sure how to do it.
Right,
You just quietly say that little scripture.
right.
I also remember, I would say from my dad's point of view, I remember one time we went to church with him and he went up in front of I think they it was our first time being back after a while.
Mm-hmm.
And so he went up to the front, I guess to kind of say that we are there, or I'm not even sure how to explain it, but he then says, um, he's still working on me, meaning that God is still working on him. And at the time, to be honest, even though we still laugh about it,
Mm-hmm.
but if you sit down and actually think about it, it's like we know that we're not perfect, and it's to always know that God is still working on us.
Right.
Sometimes, no matter what you're going through, or no matter how it feels in life, you feel like you're failing, or you feel like you're not doing well, but you have to remember that God is still working on you,
That
despite
is
what you're
true.
going through, despite what you're feeling.
Mm-hmm.
So that's two lessons that I would have learned
From
from
your
my parents.
parents. And those lessons from both of you that you shared are very powerful lessons. Because
Mm-hmm.
one, trust God and trust God alone.
Mm-hmm.
You understand? And having faith and knowing that God is still working on us because we haven't reached that place of perfection. Yes, yet. Although that is what every day that God is helping us to become
Mm-hmm.
more and more like His Son. And sometimes we go through life thinking that, why I fail God, or because of our shortcomings, or
Right.
we feel like we didn't amount to a standard that we think about, yeah, and not realizing that it's not us, but it's Christ that is actually doing the work in us to bring us into that perfection like
Mm-hmm.
Christ. So those are two powerful lessons that you guys have shared. And I pray and I hope that to our listeners that they too will be encouraged to know that, that these are the lessons that they can also apply to their lives or even to their children. So my next question would be, what's something that your parents taught you about respect?
For me, um, respect was a big thing. Respect was a big thing. Everybody deserved respect or deserves respect, doesn't matter how small you are.
Right.
But especially in our house, I had to respect my older brothers,
Mm-hmm.
especially. Um, it was there was no if, ands, or buts. I could remember one time I was being very, very difficult to my oldest brother, and my father told me to apologize, and I decided no.
Mm-hmm.
And with the speed I said no is what the speed he got up and took my own shoe and give me some licks, right? So I learned to have a respect for them,
Mm-hmm.
right? And again, this teacher thing, oh my God,
In school?
in school,
Mm-hmm.
respecting your teachers already learn,
Boy.
you better respect them to get something. My parents would never side with us. Your teachers already learn, right? So you got to get it together,
Hmm. Right.
For me, I would think, I'm thinking that my mom was a police growing up.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think respect was ever a conversation that we had
Mm-hmm.
because we automatically knew that it was something we had to do.
Right.
Being disrespectful to teachers. I can recall my mom coming to the school a few times and just she presence alone would just let me know, okay, get in line. Whether I was being disrespectful to somebody or not, I automatically knew. Or automatically I was already shaking.
Right.
Thinking like, what is this teacher going to tell my mother today?
Hmm.
And most of the time it was never really anything bad because I guess I always knew that I have to respect adults and things like that.
I strongly believe that the way how our parents were raised in them old time days,
Mm-hmm.
I don't think respect was even on the table to be a discussion for real, for
Right.
real.
Mm-hmm.
It's like you just had to, you're passing in the streets and you don't say good morning. Mind you, you ain't got to know the person's name, you ain't got to know where they live,
Mm-hmm.
and anyhow they find out, oh, you is Lindsay daughter or you is England daughter,
Right.
bet your life that going back to your mother or your father that you can't believe that, Valenticia or Sham passed me your day and said good morning. Or something. You might probably preoccupied and didn't even realize.
Mm-hmm.
But respect is a big, 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 big thing.
Especially in our culture.
Yeah. Especially in our culture for real. My my parents didn't um play either when they come home. Disrespect. I remember a time I was rude to a teacher, and I knew I was rude to the teacher. No, I didn't know that the teacher then went and called my father behind my back. So I think, you're rude. And I thinking I was in second form, and she told me stop chewing a chewing gum.
Mm-hmm.
And I just said, "Why am I studying your chewing my chewing gum still wherever?" Finally, she talked to me again. I ain't studying no third time. She said, "Stick the chewing gum on your forehead and go down to the head office." Well, I journeyed down because I feel like I'm being studying. Who down there? My father down there, nicely seated in the office, waiting for me. And here's what he did. When he finished talking to the headmistress, he came back. And this time we had farm assembly. So, everybody outside on the block, outside their classes. My father come and go, I got a chingam on my forehead still, and made me apologize to the teacher in front of every single body. And he talking loud. This is why I send to school for? This is why I send to school for? You want me a comedian? And I shame to all. Then he ended by saying, when school finishes this afternoon, make sure you come by the house. And I wonder what I mean. That's the second time that my father banged me. And I thought that he was gonna make me wait there in front of everybody, but he didn't. But he laid something right there and then, and never again I disrespected any teacher in high school because I figured that everybody know
Mm-hmm.
your father ain't a person to play with. Yeah, my father don't play when it come on being disrespectful because as you guys rightfully said, the teachers have already learned.
Mm-hmm.
And to anybody in society, whether big or small, we ought to show respect to them.
Mm-hmm.
So, what's a lesson that you didn't understand as a child, but now that you have grown or you're much older, that you appreciate it now?
it would still be the respect thing. having respect,
Mm-hmm.
I realize how far that can take you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And having manners too.
Having manners,
Mhm.
having experience.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think that's one of the lessons that having manners and respect. But sometimes you might understand as a child, like, why do I need to say excuse me all the time or
Mhm.
pardon me or may I please speak rather than just jumping in a conversation. But now that you are much older, you see how important it is for you to have respect, for you to even carry yourself appropriately.
Mhm.
You know, my mother always taught me never leave your house without a proper underwear or even dressing appropriate. She said, Chelsea, because if you're falling in the road, that's the first thing people going to talk about. And two, about making your bed. You always said, don't leave your house without making your bed. That was one of the first life lessons that, you feel like you accomplished something in the day and you feel like, you're being productive. So she always taught me to make my bed and to dress appropriately when you are leaving your house. You look properly. And
Mhm.
them times when you smile, you feel like, why could I haul on anything? Why just get here? But now that you come older and you realize, why no? Because the way how you present yourself to society is the way how people is going to
Really.
respect you and
Mhm.
view you.
Mhm.
So it's only now that I'm much older, I begin to appreciate the things that she would have instilled in me when I was young. So now we reach a place in our lives that I feel that as adults we could say, why now I get it. Now I understand why my mother or father used to say this to me. So I would like to ask, when did you realize your parents were right about something?
For me, it would be almost immediately after I've done the thing they said not to do. To be honest, like my parents would always and still do speak to me about different things, and I've always been the type of child to still do it the way that I want to,
Mm-hmm.
because I've always had this mindset that okay, but you live your life. Let me see if what you're saying can actually happen.
Right.
And I always wanted to test the boundaries to see if what they say would actually happen or come true. And honestly, let's say 9 times out of 10 they were right.
Yeah. Cheyenne?
The same thing. I think I probably always knew that my parents were right when they corrected me or they brought something of concern to my attention. Did I want to accept it at the time?
No,
Mm-hmm.
No.
I
But
want to do it one thing.
of course.
I always knew that if they said something or said don't do something, they were very, very much right.
And two, we could look at it as that they've been through a lot of things that
Mm-hmm.
I think that most parents would try to shield their children from rather than going to the headache, the
Yeah.
pain, or whatever it is it may be. They would try to warn us because, as they say, we've been there before.
Mm-hmm.
And now that, we are now adults, because I kind of like had the kind of same stubborn kind of vibe growing up real. I hear what you say, but I want to see for my own self. You
Yeah.
understand? I hear what you're saying now.
Yeah.
And I hear that you put up your phone and you put up your head,
Mm-hmm.
but I want to see
Yeah.
if I can put up my head. And as I said, 99.9% of the time you say, why I should have listened.
Mm-hmm.
I should have listened
And
to my
sometimes you
mother.
ain't only just put up your head and your foot, you put up your hand too, your
I'm
whole
telling you
body.
anyway, you fall down. And our parents are so loving and caring that when you fall and I put up your foot, they come back. And even when helping you out, they will say, I tell you so.
Yeah.
You should have listened,
Mm-hmm.
or whatever the case may be. So we just gotta thank God for our parents. Have you ever caught yourself acting like your parent or parents?
More times than I would like to admit, for sure.
The same. I think you've said it so many times, Shiny, just like your father.
Why?
I think I have the strictness of my mother at times,
Mm-hmm.
and still the smoothness of my father
Mm-hmm.
in getting our point across. So yeah.
Mm-hmm. So your parents did a good thing then.
Yeah.
The balance. Balance.
So as we know that for our church, Joshua Ministries International, that this year is the year of divine exposure. And one of the things that we have to understand is that divine exposure reveals understanding over time. You know, God doesn't just expose things to bring shame to us, but he reveals it so there can be correction, growth, and so that we won't repeat the same thing over and over again. And I think that even as um, we have been going through, lessons that we've learned from our parents, because sometimes if it's be truthful, some of the lessons them in all of them we could say I would like to apply as an adult. You understand? Like, yes, I feel like certain lessons that our parents learned in their time, that was for that time.
Right.
But still, when the time that we are living in, you would have to use wisdom in how to navigate through that. To say, well, boy, like for example, no, in the old time days, you would hear how they used to use like shoes and them kind of thick belt to discipline. Now, in this kind of time, I personally don't feel like that's applicable.
Right.
You understand? No, I know many parents who are listening to this podcast would say, and they would bring the scripture, don't spare the rod and spoil the child. But I believe that in them time that was abuse. I mean, it helped to shape them into the men and women that they are, and thankfully they are respectable people that our parents are. But Lord, man, I don't feel it is more so. I can't personally, for me, I can't see myself taking up a shoe to beat my child, to say I trying to bring forth a message of discipline. No, I'm not saying that I want to lash the child, but I don't believe that beating a child should be the way for a child to hear you. A child must learn to understand you from when you speak. You understand? They must learn to differentiate that I am parent and you are a child. But so some of the things that were revealed then, I don't think that some of them would be so much, applicable in our time, as our parents would say, I had our time, we had our time. So, so as I said before, divine exposure, it reveals understanding over time. So even as we begin to hear different perspective, we will begin to have an appreciation for what was then and what is now. And yes, you could still use some lessons learned from then and apply it to now. But I guess, as young adults, we would ask God for the wisdom on how to navigate then and now. So we're going into a game segment. And so the game segment is Who Said That? So here's how it works. So I'm going to read a phrase, and then both of you will tell me if it is your mom that said it or your dad that said it, right? So you would say, my mom definitely said that, that's my dad's line, or that's both of them. So my first phrase is because I said so.
My mom, for sure.
Both of them.
You'll understand when you're older.
My dad.
My dad. Yeah.
Don't embarrass me.
Both of them.
My mother.
I think both. My dad probably wouldn't say it in so many words, but that's what he means.
Money doesn't grow on trees.
Mommy, for sure.
Daddy.
My mother too. As long as you live under my roof.
Mommy.
Go and come back before dark.
Mommy.
Or they would say, don't let me spit dry up and you ain't come back yet.
I never hear that.
Yes.
No.
Yeah. Watch who you keep around you.
My dad mostly.
Mommy.
Pray about it.
Most of
Mommy.
So, as I said before, um, about lessons learned then and now. So we're gonna talk about unlearning and relearning.
Mm.
And so we have to create a balance between then and now. There are some behaviors that definitely have to unlearn because sometimes you like, and there are some behaviors that we have to relearn. So, were there any lessons that you had to unlearn? Even if you're sitting and you think about how you was raised, lessons that were taught, things that were passed on. I have one.
Mm-hmm.
When your parents share out your food, right? Or your grandmother share out your food, they put food on the plate. And my grandmother especially, my mother would be like, eat off all that food dear.
Oh.
Eat off all that food dear. And something your belly full, and you have to sit there and force
It's
eat
true.
off all the food. But know that you especially being in the medical field, it's not healthy.
Mm.
So that's one lesson that I had to unlearn, because even sometimes now and again when if I share my food and I realize I can't go no more. There is this guilt in me, like you're wasting the food. You know what money we have to spend on that food deal. Them kind of things they are, the sacrifice you make and you're wasting the food. But that's a lesson that I had to unlearn. Like belly full. Me eating more, me trying to overeat to make myself feel uncomfortable. But when you're small, or when you're eating your breakfast and your mother give you a half a bread, or whatever size bread, and you're like, "Mom, you want more. And mother say, but I eat off all the bread, yo. You understand? But those are not lessons that we could, I think, that we should pass down, because they're not healthy. You sit there, eat off all the food, then you look no. And then you put on a little weight that they tell you, oh, you're fat. You put on all this weight. And it's their fault, because they make us eat all the food, because we couldn't waste the food. So,
I think for me, even going on the same thing, even though no matter where I go, everybody not gonna eat off my food. Whether I full or not, I'm eating off all. I think I don't know if it's a psychological thing, but and even with Bria, like if Bria tell me she doesn't want anymore, that's it. I like okay, cool, and I take it up and
are
I
you eating it?
no, I wouldn't eat it, especially depending on what it
Okay.
is. But I wouldn't force her to eat it.
Oh, okay.
But for me, I would always force myself to eat it. I wouldn't think twice about it. I would just eat.
I think it's the impact that happened from when we were young, because I know for a fact in the culture that we grew up in, you had to eat off your food.
That's true.
You had to, because you would hear, I work hard to buy this food for you, and by the money that so you're wasting the money because it is, and something you genuinely do. You mean your belly full.
Sometimes ain't even that your belly full. Sometimes it just ain't taste good.
That too.
I remember one time my dad, he made some kind of casserole, something out of crackers. And if I be honest, it was awful. Me and my sisters, we tried to feed it to cats. We had some cats, so we tried to feed it to the cats. We tried to put it in a t-shirt, wrap it up in a neck. We tried to do all kind of things just to get rid of the food. And my father insist that we still eat it.
Wow.
And he's the kind of person who loves to experiment with food. I do not know why. Maybe he thinks he's a chef, but he would always try to make us, like he would always try something and make us eat it, but I
didn't understand that theory. Oh, being an adult now, and you look back, you're like, why? When you gotta sell the food,
yeah.
And then when you sell the food, you better come back home and eat the same food, Yeah. I don't. But yeah, that's one lesson that I would say that I have to unlearn.
I think when I do have children, I probably would not be. I want to use the right word here. I would probably allow some more trust in. give a little bit more rope,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Mm-hmm.
Because for me, we were well sheltered. I appreciate it.
Yeah.
To this day, I still appreciate it.
Mm-hmm.
But in certain instances, I think it made me socially awkward. And so I would want my children to be able to navigate social situations and not feel intimidated or like they
Yeah.
don't belong.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
And be able to have conversations with people that could, not just be a simple conversation, but could actually help them in life. That conversation could spark something that would help them to get a better job
That
or
is true.
experience
Mm-hmm.
something. But I think I, we kind of were raised very close. And it's for them, it was a joy to have us
Mm-hmm.
and to navigate and to know every inch, every
Of our
ounce of
lives.
where we are,
Mm-hmm.
what we are doing. Um, for them, it was protection,
Mm-hmm.
and I guess for them, they needed to do it. I understand, but now that I am at this age, I sometimes even know before I take a step, it's like it's almost as if I want them with me,
Hmm.
and you can't really grow with that. So I would give a little bit more rope,
Mm-hmm.
trust that what I have instilled in my
Mm-hmm.
children,
Right. Then they will carry
that,
you
that
through.
would carry through.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then when you look at the Caucasian people, I have encountered a lot of them 22, married.
Yeah.
They come in a whole different country, going school, and you're like, you over here in this age that you are, and you're like, why not? You're still fearful to make a life decision like, why not? I really want this, but you're so fearful to step out
Mm-hmm.
because, as Sharon rightfully said, that they sheltered us so much so that, and we are not saying that it is a bad thing,
No.
because of course they must know as our parents why they had to
Mm-hmm.
shelter us, because this world ain't a nice world, truth and in fact. But I agree with Shine about, even when I have kids, that you know go ahead.
Yeah.
If you don't work out, try again.
Mm-hmm.
You come over and you ball to mommy, that's okay,
Mhm.
but you ain't giving up here.
And that would be my issue,
Mhm.
right? That's the issue I have right now. That if it don't work, I don't want to try it again because I didn't like that feeling,
Yeah.
and so it doesn't, But
Yeah, I feel like yeah, when you watch the eagles, them when they're small, the mother ain't waiting till they're big to say go learn how to fly. She just give them a little nurturing at a certain point, then she throw them out the nest.
Mhm.
Whether they land on the ground or not, eventually they will learn to flap their wings and fly.
Okay.
And so,
and then the funny thing about it is that my mom would be like, "Stop afraid people." Oh, yeah.
but yeah, but I think that too for sure. Parents, and I wonder if their parents sheltered them the way. I
Not
don't
at
think so.
all. Not at
I
all.
don't believe the parents them sheltered the way how they shelter us, but I don't know what it is. I guess my mother just say she just say, because I often would say to her like, I didn't get to experience what I feel I needed to experience in life. Cause everything was no, no, no. Mark could go here, no, Mark, no. And so now I'm grown is like when you hear other people say, boy, I do this here, I know I travel, you see 17-year-old, 18-year-old traveling up and down with their friends for vacation, and everywhere I went, vacation, different country, bet you believe you're going with your
Yep.
parents. And up to this day, I don't know what it means to fly solo. And I personally feel that when they come for me to fly solo, I would panic. I will panic because it's like everything, especially when traveling with mommy. I come. Just where your boarding pass, where your passport. Never get just I ain't know what you mean to what the kiosk and them kind of things, because it's like your mother just went ahead of you, and she did everything for us. I mean, at the time, I appreciated it because I didn't have to go to the crowd. I just stand aside, wait till everything print off, put on your bag label, and mommy done handed that for you. But now you think about it, no, I ready to travel by myself. And I'm hand for my foot, and I got to learn how to read the board. And she would tell us, "Oh, you read the board, oh, you read the board, which gate we going?" But yeah, she going to go read the board, because she not taking away, so she going to go read the board for herself. So we say, okay, Mama, we going at D3. You sure? You sure? You sure D3? And she gonna go check the board for herself. So anyway, make no sense. You understand? But our parents truly sheltered us a lot.
For sure.
Yeah, and I hope that they're listening. They did. But we appreciate them. And so I guess that's one of the lessons that we could relearn as we, when to instill in our children that, we ain't sheltered. And even if you look at it, you have young engineers and architects and so you wonder, like, at 23, they done accomplish all sorts, and you're like, where they get the time? And they have like the same life that we have, like, what happened? By our parents. I remember when I finished high school, my mother wasn't ready for me to go university, but I felt like I was ready to go to another country to go school. My mom said, no, you ain't going nowhere. I remember when Shianne was going to Cuba too, and somebody said, Chelsea ain't going. I said, not Chelsea. And it was not that, it wasn't had to do with Cuba itself, but she just means she child ain't going to another country. And I begin on, big woman. My mother said, not my child. She ain't going nowhere. You understand? But that's life. So, not everything we learn is meant to be carried, but everything can teach us something. And that's one of the takeaway points that I would like to raise here, is that not everything we learn is meant to be carried, but everything we can teach us something. Because see, we've learned a lot from our parents, and we know what to carry on and what has to stop here. What's one moment with your parents that brought you joy?
There's so many. I think during the COVID, surprisingly during the COVID pandemic, the first time we had the lockdown, just being around them was fun. Being around everybody in the house was fun. Oddly, we didn't have no arguments during that time. We spent a lot of time cooking, eating. That COVID-10, we really did pack it on. Because even when food was there, already cooked, we still went outside in the evening and fried chicken.
Yeah.
So that time was really fun.
Valenticia?
I think for me it would be traveling. When we were younger, almost every summer for like maybe about the first 10 years of our lives, maybe more. Our parents would always make sure that we were on a plane going somewhere.
Wow.
Usually with them, of course. Even after we would have finished with, my sister and I would have finished university, we would have spent some time with our mom. We were in New York doing different things, and then just before we were about to come back to St. Kitts, we would have spent a week with our dad in Orlando doing all kind of things. So I think our parents always ensured that we had good moments.
Yeah.
Through traveling, through different experiences. Is that even though we would, for me, I think what I appreciate most about this time is that even though we are older, they still find joy, I guess, in spending time with us.
That's nice.
So we would go out to eat with our mother, we would go out to eat with our dad, just doing different things, having different experiences. I think that's something that I really appreciate and find joy in.
And I want to encourage us, and even those who are listening to us, to celebrate our parents while they're still here. Every day I would thank God for my parents, because it is a blessing to have your mother, your father in your life still, and not just in your life, but they're very active. Because I know of some adults, their parents are alive, but they don't have that kind of connection or that kind of relationship with their parents. But we are blessed to still have our parents very much involved
Mm-hmm.
in our lives, and they care. Even when we are making life decisions, they still will try to help us to navigate through those life
Hallelujah.
decisions and provide, wisdom, encouragement, advice, be a listening ear,
Mm-hmm.
and those kind of things. So we are to every day celebrate our parents while they are still here with us. So we are coming to a close now, and some of the things that I want to leave with us is that our parents aren't perfect, and I feel like that would help us a lot, even in trying to, understanding our parents, that they are human beings. They're gonna make mistakes. They're not gonna get it right altogether. And as I would often say that when they plan to get children in come with no manual,
Mm-hmm.
so they just do what they thought that was best, and we learn to appreciate. And I'm sure that they would attest that there are certain things that they would have liked to, or wished that they had there to unlearn or relearn, so they could have been even much better parents. But the lessons that they have taught us, we could manfully say that they have shaped us into the women that we are today.
Mm-hmm.
And then I thank God for that, because only now I just say, why, I see what my mother was talking
Yep.
about. Why, you see that thing, that saying that they used to say, when you come big, you're going to see.
Mm-hmm.
Well, one day I sat down and said, boy, mommy, I see.
I am seeing.
I'm saying, and she would say, well, you're going to know how life go. You're going to see how life go. And boy, we seen how life going.
Mm-hmm.
So, the lessons that our parents have taught us, they have shaped us, and some of them taught us what to do, what not to do, and so, but all of it, it has helped us form and to become great people in society, because I know that all of us, when we look at ourselves, we can say, boy, I turn out good.
Mm-hmm.
I turn out good,
She,
despite of all. I turn out
she
good.
ain't too shabby.
So we turn out good. So, and sometimes the older we get, the more we realize they were planting seeds that we are now seeing
Mm-hmm.
grow. So all the little nuggets here, and the little listen here, and the little don't do this here, or you should have do this way, all the time they were just planting seeds in us that now we are
Mm-hmm.
seeing those seeds grow. So, any last words that you guys would like to share, say, encourage, leave with our listeners about any lessons learned from our parents, or any encouragement to any child that's listening to appreciate their parents?
Yeah, that would be it. It might not seem like it right now.
Mm-hmm.
They might feel like they're sucking all the fun out of your life. When you get older, you'll realize that it was all worth it.
Yeah,
It was all worth it. The woman you would become, the man you would become, it was really all worth it. And we should really um, appreciate our parents and really bridge the gap between the 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 generations,
yeah.
so that parents could understand what we're saying, and we should understand what they're saying. Yes.
I would love to do that. I would love to do that.
I think I would. My encouragement would probably be to parents. The Bible says, "Train up a child in the way that he should go, and when he's old, he will not depart."
Right.
I think sometimes as parents, we would see our children doing all kind of things, and we know that we would have taught them better. I think even my parents could probably say that there are some things that I would have done, when I was younger, that they may not have seen, or they may not have think that it would have been the best choice for me to make at the time.
Mm-hmm.
But as the Bible says, when he's old, he will not depart.
Right.
So when I think about it now,
Mm-hmm.
some of course I would always go back to the lessons that I would have learned from my parents
Mm-hmm.
and now apply that to my life.
No.
So I think even though sometimes that we may seem like we're doing our own thing,
Mm-hmm.
how we want to feel the world like it's
True.
but like the Bible says, when He's all here, not the past. So we would
Definitely.
always come back to the lessons that were taught to us by our parents.
True. And that's a great encouragement indeed, because some parents have children that are not saved,
Mm-hmm.
and the parents, they are saved. And, all hope is not lost.
No.
Because once you have instilled the word of God in that child, you plant that seed,
Mm-hmm.
even with prayer, they must come back.
Correct.
And that's one thing I guarantee, they will come back. They cannot depart from it.
Mm-hmm.
So, parents and children, we encourage you to listen to your parents when they're talking.
Mm-hmm.
Take it from us. They're doing their best. They love you. They appreciate you. And parents, we do love you. And we appreciate you as well. So, this has been Jeremiah Connect. If this episode made you think about your parents, maybe take a moment to tell them thank you. And remember, divine exposure isn't just about discovering yourself, it's about recognizing what helped shape you. Tap into it.
Amen.
Bye.
Connect with us on our social media platforms, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube at JMISKB for information on upcoming events, services, inspirational quotes, and scriptures. Thank you for listening to JMI Connect, where we are believing, confessing, and living by the word of God.